Well, hi. With us today, we have Mr. Barry Brown, also known as the Bionic Bullrider. So tell us about yourself, Barry, where you're from, where you live now, and what you're doing.
Well, I was born and raised in Michigan. In fact, I got my start in rodeo up there when I was 15, when the older brother put me on my first bull at a Wild West show in Saginaw, Michigan, and which I joined up to that outfit shortly after that and traveled all over the Northeast. And then Wild West shows wasn't contestant. They paid you for the work, kind of like a traveling carnival. And you done all the sitting up and tearing down the arena and feeding the livestock and all that and sleeping on the ground and all. But that's how I got my start. And I live in Perry, Oklahoma now. Been here about 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And,
What brought you to Oklahoma?
oh boy, that's a long story. I had left South Carolina and I was in New Mexico. And Christian, I'd done some book signings out there, and they went real good. One of them was at Billy the Kid, the Last Escape, the Billy the Kid deal, and sold quite a few there. And then down in Rio Dosa, New Mexico, I set up in a Western wear store there, in boots and jeans, and they let me sit there for the 3 days. And I'm pretty good, but anyhow, I just keep trying to promote this book, and everyone that's read it say how much they enjoyed it, and they're waiting for it to come out in a movie now. So just hoping one day to get it in the right hands.
So tell us about the book. Tell us the name of the book. It's the Bionic Bullrider.
Yeah, well, I had my sternum broke in half up at a rodeo in Superior, Wisconsin back in '68. And I 50-50 shot of living that night and all that. But 2.5 months later, I went back to riding. The chest never healed. My chest was split in half.
Oh, my God.
So 2.5 years later, it kind of got to hurting my riding. I had a doctor tell me there's nothing there to protect my heart. If I got hit hard enough in the chest, it stopped my heart from beating. But I kept riding anyhow, but got to drawing them really ranked bulls at them big rodeos, and started getting worried about getting stepped on, get thrown off and bulls step on my chest, and that's what usually kills most bull riders. So I decided to get it fixed, and I had no idea it'd be the ordeal it was. And I went into a VA hospital in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and talking to that doctor about my chest and getting it repaired. And he said, "Well, let's see your chest." And I tore my shirt open, snap button shirt, and once you just shove the top half of my chest, you just push in and out, just wiggle back and forth.
Oh.
And so anyhow, he said, but he didn't know how to fix it. But anyhow, they finally come up with plans. So the surgeon made medical history. When I tracked out at Deadwood, South Dakota, the cover picture on my book was taken at the Deadwood, South Dakota rodeo that year, 1971, August of '71. And I didn't win nothing on that bull. And the next night I win pretty big riding at Sikeston, Missouri. And an article came out then, and I was selected as the first recipient of the PRCA Comeback Cowboy of the Year Award. Well, and so there was a press release sent out about it. And this was in October '71. Well, February '72, I was at the Kissimmee, Florida rodeo. And when I arrived there, there was an editor from the Orlando Sentinel there to interview me. And anyhow, when that article come out in the Sunday paper, the Orlando Sentinel, the headlines were titled "The Bionic Bullrider," which at that time embarrassed me. And I was hoping no cowboys coming into town would pick up the paper and read that. That made me feel kind of like a local yokel, But today it's different. I don't mind at all when people talk to me and ask me my name, and I give it to them. Then I said I'm better known these days as the Bionic Bullrider. And anyhow, so that's how that came about. It was from the Orlando Sentinel, and receiving that Comeback Cowboy of the Year award.
So how long did you bull ride?
28 years.
Oh my God.
started in 1959, and my last year was 87.
So as I started reading your book, and it's incredible, I recommend everyone reach out directly to Barry Brown, the Bionic Bullrider, to get a copy of the book. It is incredible. I mean, I started reading the first chapter and then I couldn't put it down. Now I need a copy because there's a little sample of it online. But yeah, I want to hear the story. It's just
well, great. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear, and that's mainly what everybody says. So, and I get so many great reviews and comments about that book, and even from children. Children love that book as much as adults. So, which is it's a good gift to give for, or one to buy for children because they're going to read it from cover to cover.
Oh,
I heard. I received a message on Facebook from a 10-year-old girl in East Texas. She said, "Mr. Barry, I'm reading your book, and that ain't no one ever going to get it out of my hands."
Oh, I love that. That gave
Well,
me
and then
goosebumps.
I received another message from a young lady in Africa. And she said, "Mr. Brown, I'm a 22-year-old black girl in Africa. I've read your book. Your book is changing lives. You need to keep writing."
Oh,
And
oh my God, that's so inspiring.
so, well, and because of that, I'm probably the only author that guarantees you're going to enjoy my book, or I'll buy it back.
Oh well, I guarantee you, you won't be nobody will be buying it back because it's
Oh
awesome.
no,
Well, I
not
got a question though. As I
okay.
was reading it, what made you decide, like, how did it become your passion? Because you starved. You like didn't know really kind of when you were going to be eating. You were in pain a lot whenever you rode. So what was it that kept you wanting to do this?
Well, I pretty much explained that right there early on in the book. Well, after that horse dragon story, Christmas tree story, but after I got on that first bull, and now I was pretty darn scared getting on that first one, as I just figured one day that I would rodeo too because my older brother did, and my older sister got him started. She rode broncs and was a trick rider, but but after I fell off that first one about 3 4 seconds and knocked all the air out of me, but I thought then on the ride back home with my mother about I thought that was the most fun I'd ever had.
I bet not.
And yeah, and I told all of them the heck with school, I'm going to rodeo, and so that's
Oh,
pretty much the rest of my life and been involved with it and stuff, and just couldn't quit it. Loved it too much. Couldn't
oh.
wait to get back on that next one when I'd be crippled and laid up. And then I'd judge rodeos to earn a little money to live on instead of sitting at home in Michigan.
Gotcha.
Stayed on the road. And
I thought initially you meant you were being facetious because your mother was not happy when she heard your name announced in the
oh,
arena as a rider.
uh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Her sister, my Aunt Helen, the two of them was in the front seat as we was headed back home, and my mom was going on about that and telling my aunt and said that how I was not going to rodeo, because she was just always too scared, and that there was 5 of us ended up riding and all that. And but anyhow, like I tell in the book, I wasn't hearing a word she said. I was just in hog heaven and thinking about that bull I had just gotten on.
I love it. I love it. So, have you ever had any doubts about it? Like, why am I doing this? I mean,
No, never no doubts about that. I just couldn't, like I say, if I'd be crippled and too crippled up to ride, I'd, just wait until I could get on again. Couldn't wait, and usually started back before the doctors would release me or anything. And I didn't care what they said. I felt all right. That's like when I split that chest in half and that surgeon made medical history. And the doctor told it'd be at least a year healing up and that I may never ride again because it may not work. That's
yeah.
about the only time I got scared. That worried me more than anything when he said I may never ride again if
Oh,
it didn't heal. And so I asked him then, I said, well, Doc, if it don't work, will I still have use of my arms? And he said, well, yeah, it's not going to affect those at all. And I said, okay, let's go for it then, because as soon as he said that about I may never ride again, I was picturing myself with my left hand down to that rope with my right hand up in the air riding, because it didn't matter if that surgery didn't work. I was already riding with my chest split in half, and I just continue on. Well, 8 months later, I just figured the chest was healed, and I entered Deadwood, South Dakota, and I was back on the trail again. I never went back for evaluation or another X-ray to see what the doc thought about it. I just cracked back out. But January, but January '74 proved to me that the surgery worked, and I had the strongest chest in the world, and probably still do. But I landed flat on my back, and I was on a 1,900-pound Brangus bull. And when I hit the ground flat on my back and looking straight up, I see both of his hind heels were straight over his head, way up in the air. And they both come down with all that weight and force right on top of my chest.
Oh.
Well, I got up and walked out there, didn't break the thing. And I drove all night to South Florida for another rodeo. So that's why I say I have the strongest chest in the world.
Oh
now
my
that now that first story in the book about that horse dragging me in that Christmas tree, and when he was first standing on top of my chest, that ended up and broke one of the wires in my chest. And then I broke 5 ribs a year or 2 later, and that broke the other part of that wire that was already broke, but it's just sitting in there kind of loose, but it don't bother me.
Oh my gosh. Well, and then reading the part, like that's the first chapter in the book is about the horse, the Christmas tree, and you losing your finger. You lost your finger because you were drugged by the horse. I can't even imagine what that felt like. And I remember you saying, help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. Oh my gosh, I see it.
Oh yeah.
Help me, Lord, help me, Lord. And
he did. He saved me, when I could tell in the book, and I described the things I was doing, trying to free myself, and that horse is wide open across that field. Me and that horse, me and the tree right beside his back heels, dragging us on the ground. And I could tell in the book that once after I did all I could do to try to save myself, and I couldn't, the word just came out, Lord, help me. And that rope broke immediately right then. And the horse run on home and left me in that tree laying there in that field.
Yeah, and then you couldn't get back home. It was too far. You couldn't make it home. You saw the road. You went towards the road. You made it. Kept saying, Lord help me, Lord help me. And there were so many cars that passed you by, which that really broke my heart. Just
well, I didn't blame those drivers that passed me by. And I was all doubled over and holding my ribs and trying to wave at them. And I was hoping they'd see the little bit of blood, but the finger didn't bleed much when it pulled the end of that finger off. But I was hoping they would see it and realize I was hurt, because I knew I probably looked more like a drunk or something the way I looked out there, So I didn't blame them for not stopping, but it got pretty rough there for a while there, and all I got so weak, I was just laying there by the right there on the shoulder next to the lane, the highway. I was on Interstate 65, about 5 miles south of Montgomery, Alabama then. But yeah, and I've just had that one arm propped up there waving it and laying there flat on my back because I was so weak. Ended up that I had a punctured lung and it broke 5 ribs and tore the end of that finger off. But 2 days later, I was back home.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Well, the Lord has been with you. Such a blessing. To endure so much, discomfort and pain. It's just, I want to know. So the moment that you get on the bull and then you cinch the rope, what is that? What does it feel like for you? Can you explain?
Oh, heck, just a great feeling to have your sitting on that bull's back with your legs down there by his side and fixing to nod your head and hope to win a few hundred. You know,
Yeah.
I was like somebody said one time when me and my wife wasn't married then, but I was calling her all the time. Her daddy didn't know how in the world I could pay for those phone bills, which were pay phones in those days. It wasn't
Oh,
no cell phones, and I told her, I thought, heck, it's just one boat ride, you know, the $700 a month bill I was paying, but it didn't matter. It just don't take but 8 seconds to get enough to pay that back.
oh wow. I love that. I love that.
There's some great dog stories in there too. I don't know if you got to them yet, but
No, I haven't. I
all
haven't.
right. Well, dog Rod, my Catahoula, I hauled with me on the rodeo trail, and I trained him when I was 17. But he was an amazing dog and done a lot of things. And I was even hired as a contact actor at the Ocala, Florida rodeo in '63. And anyhow, it's a pretty funny story when you read it now. I'll have folks call just to tell me how hard they're laughing. And that's
Oh.
all they say about the book. Barry, I got tears streaming down my face. I'm laughing so hard. Yeah, but yeah, there's great dog stories. And like I tell folks, that book covers almost everything in life, not just rodeos and bull riding. But like my son, a story in there about how God healed him of seizures. He began having seizures when he was 3 years old. You'll read that. It's in
Oh
there.
no.
Well, everything I'm telling you is in the book. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Well, what was the most exciting thing that happened to you in the bull riding?
probably, I don't know, riding some rank bulls that had never been rode before. That's pretty exciting. And qualifying for the national finals among the top 15 of the world. That
Oh,
maybe it.
that's incredible. I mean, congratulations for qualifying. That's just incredible. So what do you do now that you've retired?
Well, promoting this book's about it. I got 3 more book signings coming up, though. Well, this Saturday, I have one, and then the week after, I have one on Saturday and one Sunday. And just trying to keep promoting the book and do book signings and do a lot of tractor supply. That's
That's
what most of my books signings at anymore. But unless rodeos come up, but this time of year, there's not many of them around right now. But I'll be doing more of them in the spring.
well, February, yeah, we've got February, our rodeo coming up in San Antonio. Um,
Yeah, I sent them a book when it first come out and told them, explained in there that there's a bull riding picture of me taken at San Antonio. And in
oh,
fact, when I received that Comeback Cowboy of the Year award, I had received a telegram there at the Fort Worth Rodeo from Columbia Pictures to give them a call in New York City, and 800 number. And I called them and told them that I think they got the wrong person, that they meant to send that to Larry Mahan. They said, no, you're the one. Anyhow, they won. They had me set up to meet up with Cliff Robinson, the movie actor, and he starred in the rodeo movie that was being released in early '72, J.W. Coupe. And it was that rodeo movie is based on a all-around hand that had been out of competition for a number of years, and he went back to rodeo, and he could still ride and win. And that's how I ended up winning that Comeback Cowboy of the Year award after what I went through with that surgery and the medical history and the chest being split in half, and I was still able to ride and win. And so anyhow, so I met up with Cliff there, out in the arena Saturday night performance during San Antonio. So
yes.
anyhow, I told them all about that, the committee, when I sent them my book, and I don't know what they did with the book, but they never even responded to it. Same way with Houston, they wouldn't even respond. So, and
Whoever.
Fort Worth, they wanted $1,450 to sit up at their rodeo.
Ah,
Which I was in Florida at that time, and I just couldn't afford to drive that far and pay that kind of money. But
yeah.
if I'd have had money, I'd have done it. It would have been all right. But
It's a little drive to get down here from Oklahoma in Texas. It's a probably a good, what, 5, 6, 7, 8 hour drive. And
Oh yeah, but that's just a hop, skip, and a jump. I'm used to this, right?
well, that's
I'm used to this.
true.
The miles don't bother me. And, yeah, you're going to read one story in there, that book, where I was up for 4 days and 3 nights, just rodeo to rodeo to rodeo, and I worked 5 rodeos those 3 days, or 4 days and 3 nights anyhow. And I was up all that time, never went to bed. 4 days and 3 nights, just steady getting on and riding, heading to the next one, 2 a day on Fridays and Saturdays. I worked 2, in different states and everything, and 2,100 miles. But I rode all my bulls and went about 1,300 back then, and went a buckle at Sykeston, Missouri. I went both go arounds there that year. But anyways, so the driving don't bother me.
Oh, it doesn't sound like it. So, what was so that was your typical day back then? You were constantly traveling and then just riding from one show to the next and hoping to win, hoping to stay on that 8 seconds. You only got paid though if you won, right? Or
I was what? I said again.
you only got paid if you won?
Yeah, and it wasn't really being paid. Yeah, it was prize money, and if you win, then yeah, you win that money per second, per fourth, whatever. And of course, you have to pay an entry fee to enter the rodeo, and plus all your expenses getting there. And then if you got to spend the night, you got all kind of expenses involved there. So you could lose several $100s in one rodeo if you don't win nothing.
Oh wow. Let me think about
And all you can do is head to the next one and hope to get them there.
Well, so what was the most difficult challenge for you, or what was the most challenging for you, in doing it?
Oh shoot, that was staying healthy for me, I guess. I was injured so many times. Broke 21 ribs over the years and separated them many times. Besides that, and I broke a total of 29 bones. I know that because having book signings, that's one of the questions people ask when they come up to my table. How many bones you break? Well, I don't know, pretty good many, but I've never counted them up. So finally decided I better count it up so I'll be able to tell them, if it was 29 anyhow, and a few surgeries.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. Well, I mean, like, how did you take care of your, oops. Oh no. Are you still there?
Yeah, I hear you. I see you.
Oh, sorry. Hang on a second.
Did
Something.
you lose me?
Yeah, something happened. Just
No, I'm still up there on my screen. And I see you and hear you fine.
ah. Hang on a second.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't know what happened.
No, nothing happened on my end. Everything looks the same as it was. What's it doing there? Hello?
Well, it just has, you know what? Let me see. Oh, there we go. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, sorry about that. Okay.
Nothing
Very
happened
good.
on this end. Everything's still just like it was when we first started.
No, I couldn't see you, so sorry
I'm
about
gonna try to see if this is the banner that I have when I do book signings. I'm gonna see if the phone will pick it up.
Oh yeah, I can see it. The Bionic Bullrider. I love it.
Yeah, that was.
Nice to see your trailer back there too, your horse trailer.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm living in. That's living quarters.
Ah, gotcha. So right now you're on tour. Are you on tour just doing book signings?
Well, kinda, but no, I'm living here.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I'm living here. That's my home. And, anyhow, I've got a son up in near Portland, Maine, and a daughter in Phoenix City, Alabama, and another daughter near Panama City, Florida. But they're all scattered around.
Aw, so do you visit them quite often?
No, I hadn't seen any of them. Let's see, I was up there at my son's place, and I left where I was staying down near Austin, Texas, and I drove back to South Carolina. I hauled my horse up there in this trailer. I dropped them off with some friends in South Carolina, and I drove on up to Maine to see my son. His wife had my first granddaughter.
Oh,
I was
congratulations.
there just before Christmas and stayed till early March and left and went to South Carolina. Anyhow, so that's the last time I seen any of my children. And I left his place there in March.
Well, I have one more question for you. What would you want listeners to know most about you and your purpose and your path? And what if they want to do the same thing? Be a bull rider.
Well, I've heard from some teenage boys that after reading my book and would tell about how the book had inspired them, and which I tell the good and the bad in my book. And I done a lot of drinking in my younger days, and I tell about how much better I rode, how more consistent I was when I quit drinking in '73, and that I would ride most of my bulls. They didn't throw me off much, and I just win a lot more money and bought my first brand new vehicle then. So I would tell any young person that don't touch this stuff. Alcohol is evil, and you think you're having a good time, and maybe you are, but you'll pay for it in the end. And I wasted most of my good years because I drank. I mean, I truly believe I could have been a world champion if I would have left that stuff alone.
Oh, wow.
But
Well,
that,
no, go ahead.
I'm through. I'm going to just say that and follow the Lord. He'll lead you in the right direction.
Amen. Well, how can we find your book? Do we just go to your Facebook page and reach out to you in order to get your book?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they can contact me through Facebook. And like I say, I'm not too sure. You can get it off Amazon, Barnes and Noble, but I hadn't received any compensation from them in 3 or 4 years now. But anyways, I prefer that they order directly from me and they'll get a signed copy that way. So yeah, they can just find me. I got a couple of pages, Bionic Bullrider, and then one is Barry Brown, and they can contact me that way, and I can give them info, mailing address and all that stuff, and I'll get a signed copy right out to them.
Excellent. And I'll also put it in the show notes. So how they can get it as well. So they could always refer to the show notes here.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. I appreciate it. I sure enjoy your songs too. Everybody needs to look you up on YouTube and listen to some of your songs. You got a pretty voice and good singer.
Oh, thank you so much. That means so much. Thank you.
Bet.
Well, it has been such a pleasure getting to meet you, and I can't wait to finish the rest of your book. You have such an incredible life, and thank you for sharing your experiences with us.
You bet, Bonnie, and thank you. Thank you very much for this.